Hello everyone, good evening. I hope we're all feeling a little bit better after the break. We've all had a nice cup of tea and a little bit of fruit. So I'm here to talk to you today about actually what else there is out there that's not just engineering or maths. So, to kick off a little bit about me, I am actually an ex-student of the Academy, so I started in 2018 with studying my GCSEs. So I studied the core subjects, engineering, business, and BTEC sport. I then decided after COVID hit, the safest option was to stay at sixth form. So I did so, and I wasn't still 100% on what I wanted to do, but I knew I had an interest in engineering. So I decided to study a double engineering diploma, an extended certificate in business, and level 3 maths with an EPQ, which for those who don't know is just an extended project qualification. So it's basically like a little bit of a dissertation. So I actually wrote mine on COVID and whether it was man-made or natural, but we won't go into that. So you may actually wonder why I'm doing business, even though I studied even though I studied engineering A levels. And actually, the truth behind it is, I didn't do very well in maths. I didn't get the results that I wanted to, and I actually came out with a D. I was a little bit complacent because I'd done quite well at GCSE, and I was like, oh, it's only a level 3, which is equivalent to an AS. I'll be fine. Don't need to revise, don't need to really worry about it. Until it came to opening the results and I was worried about it. So I'd actually applied for all engineering at university. I wanted to do mechanical engineering and that's where I saw myself. JCB was the only one where I'd applied for business. And that's where I went because I didn't have the maths. I didn't think I would do very well without my maths in engineering. And actually I would have really struggled. So I started at JCB in 2022 as a level 6 business degree apprentice. I study at Derbyshire University and I'm now 3 years in with my chartered management degree. So, as part of our apprenticeship, we actually do 6-month rotations. It's not unique to JCB, it's covered by most apprenticeships, and it really is kind of, I would say, the best thing about them. So I'd just like to give a little bit of an overview and insight into the things that I've done, which traditionally are business functions, but also have still used the technical skills and my engineering knowledge behind them. So starting in JCB, I started in a very sales-based function, so global major accounts. For those of you that don't know, it's a really cool part of the business. They look after the key customers, the big customers, the people spending all the money. So you get to go on all the nice trips, the nice dinners, the days out, everything like that. It's great. We help them spend as much money as possible, basically. From that, I moved into commercial operations, so they kind of go in hand with GMA, but they're more of the financy things behind it. So actually looking at the profitability of these deals, understanding how we can help the customer to spend that little bit more, what discounts can we give them, what incentives can we put in place to actually maybe make them buy a couple more machines from us, everything that went behind that. But actually in both GMA and commercial, I still used my engineering basis of knowledge to understand what we could do more for the customer. So because these customers are buying thousands of machines from us every year, they want their own niche things, whether that be different attachments, different tyres, even down to different colours. And actually working with the engineering team to understand, is that possible, is something that was really integral to them roles. From there, I took a little bit of a sidestep, you may say, but it was always an interest of mine, and I went to work in our group legal team. This was a really, really amazing experience, I must say, and it really opened my eyes to the breadth of JCB and everything that we get involved with. The legal team cover absolutely everything from employment tribunals, of course, but standardisation and emissions and logistics of moving machines around. And actually that was a key project of mine, was actually how we export machines around the world. How do we do that without paying import duties, and what kind of legislation do we have to meet in order to do so? From there, I decided to go into marketing, again in a very unique part of the business. There's a little bit of a trend following here. OEM, which people really don't know OEM, and that's original equipment manufacturers. So in principle, it's a component business. Everything, engines, powertrain, axles, transmissions, you name it, we'll stick them in it. Road sweepers, boats, cinema machines, artificial snow makers, literally anything we'll put a JCB engine into. So really doing the marketing for that. Unlike traditional JCB and machinery, we're not marketing to customers, we're marketing to businesses. So you have to have that technical understanding and that technical knowledge to understand what the businesses are looking for, what are these companies looking for when they're looking for an engine, what are the attributes that they need it to have. And this really also linked in to H2, which then linked in to my next placement. Because I enjoyed OEM so much and the team was fantastic, it was really unique, I stayed on to do a market strategy role, so actually looking more into what are we going to do next, how are we going to do it, how are we going to make it happen, where are our targets going to be. And I would like to touch on this a little bit more. Market strategy. A lot of that was to do with hydrogen. I'm repping a lovely hydrogen lanyard that is very sought after in JCB. But these were some of the key projects that I worked on. So we actually are looking at H2 at the minute. We're looking at hydrogen. Some of you may know that we have our hydrogen engine that is, almost ready to go to market, but understanding how we're going to go to market, where are the regions, where's the infrastructure, what is the legislation and emissions that we need to follow. And some of the key projects on the screen, you can see this is a road sweeper, so this is with one of our biggest customers, Buka, and that's actually got our JCB hydrogen engine into that. And that is the first of its kind. There's never been a H2 road sweeper before, but hopefully as the years go on, this is something that you'll see and become a lot more familiar with. So that was a key thing. Another really exciting part of this whole market strategy thing was actually get involved in the engine strip down. So it's phenomenal to actually be able to say that we've done thousands of hours of testing on these H2 engines, but really to validate how clean they are, we've got to strip that down and we've got to look at the engine. So being involved with that from a market strategy point of view, how clean is that engine? From a marketing point of view, how can we use how clean that engine is to market to our customers just how good we are with hydrogen, and everything else in between. So that is a real pinnacle part of my career that has really used my technical knowledge and everything that I'd learned here at the academy through my A-levels and my GCSEs, but ultimately in a business function, and I think that is the beauty of that. So, skills developed, just as a little quick fire, 3 things. I would say that the key things I've developed are communication, the ability to talk to people around the world, not only just within JCB, but our external suppliers, our distributors, our dealers, and actually the customers as well, to understand what their goals are, what they're trying to do, what their sustainability targets are, and things like that. Constructive challenging. This is, I think, a big one for anybody that's in any sort of industry, but especially manufacturing. You will not always agree with everything that's being said. And especially from a business perspective, your engineers want something, your business leaders want something else. Engineering and sales don't always go hand in hand. There's a lot of disagreements that come with that. So the ability to challenge that, but be constructive and be polite and have all of the resources behind you to say, actually, I know you're really, really smart and I know you are an engineer, but I think that this is the better option for the sales and for the markets and this for what the trends are saying. And then finally, critical analysis. So this really is something that I developed mainly in that market strategy role, understanding the markets, understanding what they're doing, really getting into the nitty-gritty of different agreements like the Paris Agreement. I don't know if anybody's had the pleasure of reading that. It's really long, really boring, goes into lots of detail, but actually understanding all of the analysis behind that. So they are the 3 key things that I would say I've kind of developed. As a final message, I was really umming and ahhing as to what to say as my final message, but my message to any students would be, if things don't go your way, please don't be afraid, don't be stressed, and I know it's really cliche, but things generally do work out the way that they're supposed to. although I would have loved to do engineering and I was looking at engineering for university and apprenticeships, as I stand here now, 3 years into a business scheme, I can't imagine myself being on an engineering scheme anymore. I can't imagine myself in that traditional manufacturing role. And I really think that although I am a future business leader, I hope, that actually this is where where my preferences lie and where I'm suited to, but with that engineering knowledge and with the understanding that goes with it as well. So I think I'm almost at time. Thank you very much for listening, and yeah.